Hello friends, so welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we'll see what is useReducer. So what is useReducer hook is used and how we can use it for in our application. Okay, so useReducer hook is similar to useState hook, so which helps us to store the value in our React application. So if you are not aware about the use state hook, you can check out my other videos. But you can consider it as how to store the values and manipulate the values into our React application. And whenever, like, what is the difference between use state and use to reducer? So whenever you want to perform some simplest operations, and then you can use the use state hook. Whereas if you want to do the any kind of complex logic and complex operations on your data, then you can use the use reducer hook. So let's start. You'll see the how we can implement it. Okay. So I'll here write use reducer. So use reducer requires two arguments. The first one is the reducer function, and the second one is the initial values. Okay. So let's add reducer function. Okay. So first, what we'll do, we will write the initial state. So initial state. Let's say we have an object which contains count, has the value 0. Okay. Now let's write a reducer function which will perform operations on it. If you want to increment it or decrement it by any value, then we can write the function for that. We need to write a logic for that. So let's write a function for that. I will be writing a reducer function. This will be an arrow function. Okay, so you can write any kind of thing. Here, this reducer function will accept two arguments. The first one is the state, whatever the current state which your React application have for that particular reducer, and the second one is the action. Okay, I'll mark those as any for now. You can have your interfaces created in, and you can have it as tightly bind. Okay, as per your need. So I'll be destructuring the action argument. Okay, so what I'll do here I need type, what type of action I want to perform. Okay, these things I will be passing from the or main component, and let's say I will be passing a payload. So I'll say action. This is the restructuring we have done over here. Okay, now let's add a switch statement, and say type. Here I'll say case. If this is increment, then return object. This will be a new state which is going to be updated. Okay, so what I'll do here I will return count as state dot count plus payload. Okay, that's how I'm going to return. And for decrement same, return count state dot count minus payload. Okay, so what we are doing over here, we are we are checking the type. If it is of type increment, then we are returning increment. We are returning a new object. Okay, this will be a state object where we are saying state.count plus payload, whatever the payload will be passing. And if you are saying decrement, then we will say count is equals to state.count minus payload. In the default case, I'll just return the existing state. Okay, now we can pass this reducer function over here and the initial state. I'll say const. This reducer hook will give us two values. Okay, the first one is the state. I'll say it has my state, let's say, yeah. And the second one is the dispatch function through which we can execute these actions. Okay, we can call this particular, we can pass this type, and according to that, our logic will be get executed. Okay, now let's say I have a count. I'll show this. I'll say my state dot count. Okay, and here let's say I will add a br tag, and then let's say I'm adding button. Here, okay, let's say I'm saying increment by 5. Okay, and same as this, decrement by 5. Okay, here I'll add some space. Okay, so let's see. We have not yet executed our logic. We have to write the on click method, but before that, I'll just run the application so that we can see how our UI looks like. Okay, we have count and we have increment by 5 and decrement by 5. Okay, so let's write here on click. Here, we can also create a separate method over here, and we can call that we can pass the reference of it over here. But there's one more way to write directly on click over here. We can write an arrow function over here, anonymous arrow function. Okay, here I'll say dispatch. To dispatch, we need to pass an object which will contain type. Okay, so type because we have made it over here as type. Okay, which will be increment, comma, payload, that is 5 because we are incrementing by 5. So let's check whether this is working or not. Let's refresh. Action is not iterable. So this is not an array. This is an object. Okay. So now we can refresh again. Okay. Increment by 5 working. Okay. Decrement is not working because we have not yet provided the function over here. So let's same way. On click equals to arrow function dispatch. Here we'll say action. But first we need to pass the object. Here we'll say action type is colon decrement comma payload 5. Decrement by 5. Okay, decrement by 5. It's decrementing. So that's how it is working. So this payload you can pass as dynamic as you want. and it's not necessary to have the name as payload only. You can give any name as per your choice. Okay, I have used here the payload, but you can give any number. Okay, any name you want, and you can perform any kind of complex logic where if maybe if you want to do some additions, operations, addition, subtraction, this kind of thing, or any different kind of operations if you want to do, then you can do with the help of this. Okay, and use reducer is also part of the Redux uh, in React. So in Redux also use reducer is used. So we'll check out that how the use reducer can be used inside the Redux. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you.